So how old was she when you were born?
15 going on 16.
Now, how old was Jay-Z at the time?
I think like 22.
What? 15 and 22. Damn.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now I can kind of see why he's probably not claiming it, because it looks bad on his reputation. You can't undo kids. You can't undo like him allegedly courting young girls that were way younger than him underage. Like, all of this has to come out, and it's like you just keep trying to stuff it in.
Jay-Z just got hit with the one thing he's been running from like it's a ghost chasing him for decades. A leaked DNA test, and the streets are buzzing like never before. Rymir, the man who's been claiming for years that Hav is his real father, just put what he says is the receipts out there. And 50 Cent. Oh, he's co-signing this whole thing in the loudest, messiest way possible. You already know when 50 gets involved, it's about to get real ugly. If you've been paying attention, Rymir's story isn't brand new. This dude has been out here for over a decade, telling anyone who'd listen that Jay-Z is his father, begging him to take a paternity test. And Jay, he allegedly refused over and over. Instead, according to Rymir, Jay's team came at him with legal smokescreens, court filings, endless paperwork, and enough delays to make the whole thing drag out for years. But Rymir never tapped out. Now, the word on the block is that Rymir's got his hands on an indirect DNA test. And this isn't just a random claim. This test reportedly ties him directly to Jay-Z. And here's the twist. He's now linked up with 50 Cent to blow the lid off it all, leaking the results and letting the public decide what to believe.
It's a past that you can't undo kids. You can't undo like him allegedly courting young girls that were way younger than him underage. Like, all of this has to come out, and it's like you just keep trying to stuff it in.
Sources are already saying Jay is scrambling behind the scenes, panicking about what's about to drop. And here's why. If this DNA test sees the light of day, it could give legs to years of accusations painting him as a PDF. Rymir says his mother, Wanda, was just 16 when Jay, already in his 20s, got her pregnant. Even if there's just a grain of truth to that, it's not just messy, it's the kind of scandal that could shake Jay-Z's empire to its core. Before Rymir's mother, Wanda, passed away, she wasn't quiet about who she believed fathered her son. She was loud about it, pointing the finger straight at Jay-Z. According to Wanda, her first encounter with Hav happened back in 1992. She claimed Jay pulled up on her in Philadelphia, swept her away to his Brooklyn apartment, and that night changed everything. She said they used protection, but it failed, and she ended up pregnant. That confession lit a fire in Rymir, pushing him harder in his search for answers.
So it's not like you're trying to collect any money.
That's why I said this for years. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm, of course, anybody would want more money. Who wouldn't take money? But I'm good where I'm at in life. I got a great job. I'm driving Mercedes-Benz. I'm taking care of myself, taking care of my kids.
The real turning point came when a DNA test proved that Robert Graves, the man listed on Rymir's birth certificate and who'd been in his life as his mother's longtime boyfriend, wasn't his father at all. Rymir even had Robert's name legally removed from his birth certificate last year, making it official that Robert had no biological connection to him. Wanda allegedly swore she had only ever been with two men during that time, Robert and Jay-Z. So if Robert was out of the picture, the only name left was Jay. And people can't help pointing out that Rymir shares some striking features with Jay-Z himself. Wanda even took things to court, filing a civil lawsuit to hold Jay financially responsible for child support. But the case was dismissed before it ever went anywhere. From start to finish, Wanda stood firm in her claim, up until her last breath, that Jay-Z was Rymir's father. Some people even believe the years of stress, legal battles, and constant stonewalling she faced from Jay's side may have played a role in her early passing. Over time, whispers of corruption, legal cover-ups, and misconduct have only made the whole thing look even shadier. But Rymir says this isn't about cashing in. He's been clear. He's not chasing Jay for money. He's chasing him for the truth and nothing else. Rymir has never stayed quiet about the injustice he says he and his mother were forced to live through for years. He straight up claimed that the courts tossed out his filings because Jay-Z wanted them gone. And when you've got money, connections, and power like Jay, you can pull strings most people can't even reach. According to Rymir, Jay didn't just refuse to take responsibility. He allegedly used his wealth and influence to bend the system in his favor, sidestepping accountability at every turn. He says Jay's legal team played dirty, sabotaging his case from the inside and making sure he never got a fair shot in court.
People are desperate and willing to do anything to get a headline that detracts from the fact that that man, that her husband, who has been denying is his child for many years, is about to finally get that DNA result that everybody has been so desperately waiting.
Now, people are asking the obvious question. If Jay swears Rymir isn't his son, why not just take the test and shut this down for good? What's he hiding? And here's where the plot thickens. Because this isn't the only cloud hanging over Jay-Z's name. Not too long ago, he barely dodged getting dragged into the mess surrounding his friend Diddy after one of Diddy's accusers dropped a bomb. She claimed Jay and Diddy both groomed her when she was just 13. Now, that woman eventually agreed to drop her lawsuit. But here's the twist. She's recently come forward saying she never retracted her accusations. The only reason she backed off legally was because Jay allegedly sent private investigators to lean on her and make her stay quiet. And the shadiest part, almost no major media outlet touched this latest update. No headlines, no interviews, just silence. Which has people wondering, is this about lack of proof, or is someone making sure this story never sees the light of day? By now, it's no secret. Big outlets like TMZ and The Shade Room don't breathe a word of anything negative about Jay-Z. You can check for yourself. Scroll through their sites for the Rymir story. You won't find a single headline, even though this case has been making noise for years. The same mainstream media that covers every celebrity slip-up is suddenly acting like this one doesn't exist. And it's not just Rymir's case getting the silent treatment. Look at the Jane Doe situation. Just last week, a judge tossed out Jay-Z's defamation lawsuit against attorney Tony Busby, the same lawyer representing Jane Doe. That should have been major news, but the big-name outlets, not a word, total blackout. This is exactly why people like Jaguar Wright are calling it out. She's been relentless about this whole mess, dragging TMZ and accusing Jay of trying to bury the truth under layers of PR control. She claims he's been working overtime to slow down the buzz about Rymir's indirect DNA test, allegedly confirming Jay as his father. And Jaguar hasn't pulled any punches. She's outright said Jay's been denying Rymir all these years because, according to her, he got Wanda pregnant when she was still underage. She's also accused him of flexing his control over the legal system, even going as far as to claim he's bribed judges just to dodge taking that paternity test. The way she tells it, this isn't just a family dispute, it's a power play. And the fact that so many media outlets won't even touch it, that's got people asking if Jay's reach goes a whole lot deeper than music. What's really got folks talking now is how deep this silence runs. It's not just gossip blogs keeping quiet. Even some investigative journalists are steering clear, and that's saying something. People are convinced Jay-Z has built an invisible wall around his name where certain stories just don't make it through. And when you see who he's connected to, from corporate execs to politicians, it starts to make sense why this whole thing stays in the shadows. Behind the scenes, whispers say there's been more than just PR management at play. Allegedly, any reporter who's tried to dig into Rymir's story has found themselves facing sudden legal threats, NDA offers, or flat-out job pressure from higher-ups. A few even claim their editors told them this isn't worth the trouble and shut their pieces down before they could ever hit the press. And while the public might think this is all just about avoiding embarrassment, those closer to the situation say Jay's real fear isn't the paternity claim itself. It's what confirming it could unlock. If Rymir is his biological son, then the timeline of events would back up Wanda's underage pregnancy claim, and that's a whole different kind of legal storm. Jaguar Wright has even gone further, saying this is why the DNA test has been avoided at all costs. Because once that paper is official, you can't PR spin your way out of what it really means. She's hinted there are even more people with stories about Jay from back in those years, but they're too scared to speak. So now the question isn't just, is Rymir Jay-Z's son? It's what else has been buried to keep that answer from coming out? And now, here's where things get explosive. Because 50 Cent has decided he's not just gonna support Rymir quietly, he's making it a full-blown public spectacle. You already know 50 loves a headline, and he's been dropping little jabs, cryptic posts, and side-eye comments all over social media, making sure Jay knows he's watching. Sources say 50 has even offered to help Rymir make the truth go viral, which could mean anything from funding a documentary to dropping those DNA receipts himself. And when 50 moves like this, it's never just for the fun of it. He's strategic. People in the industry are already whispering that this could be part of 50's long game to chip away at Jay's untouchable image. It's not just petty beef either. 50's been hinting that this whole situation ties into bigger industry secrets, the kind that could make powerful people real uncomfortable. He's already joked online about how certain media outlets must have Jay on a monthly subscription to keep his name clean. And the fact that he's aligning himself with Rymir now, that's like throwing gasoline on a fire everyone's been pretending isn't burning. Insiders are saying Jay's team is in overdrive mode, trying to figure out how much 50 really knows and whether he's bluffing or holding actual proof. Because if 50 leaks something concrete, this stops being just a rumor and becomes a documented scandal overnight. And 50? He's loving every second of watching the pressure build. He's been around long enough to know exactly how to drag this out, so Jay can't control the narrative. If this keeps going, it's not just about one DNA test anymore, it's about the whole carefully built empire starting to show cracks in real time. Word on the street is Jay-Z's camp is scrambling to keep 50 Cent from turning this into a circus they can't control. Insiders claim Jay's team has been reaching out to industry contacts, trying to quietly pressure 50 into backing off. But anyone who knows 50 knows that's like telling a shark to stop swimming. Allegedly, there have been phone calls made to mutual business partners, subtle warnings about future deals being at risk if 50 keeps pushing the Rymir story. But here's the thing, 50 doesn't play by the same rulebook as most in the industry. If anything, those attempts to silence him might be making him even more determined to drag this out in public. Some people close to the situation say Jay's not just worried about the DNA test, he's worried 50's digging into other things from his past. The whispers are that 50's been talking to people who used to run in Jay's early circles, and if any of those old stories surface, the damage could go way beyond this paternity mess. Meanwhile, 50's been sending out even more cryptic messages online, posting old photos, dropping lines from his own tracks that feel like direct shots, and sharing memes that fans are convinced are aimed at Jay. He's building anticipation like it's a rollout for an album, except this one could blow up someone else's career. Jay's strategy seems to be to contain it before it spreads too far. But with social media watching and independent blogs already circling, that might be a losing battle. If 50's holding what people think he's holding, the moment he decides to hit post, it could trigger a storm that no amount of PR or power plays will be able to shut down. And now 50 Cent, the one man in the industry who's never scared to call it how he sees it, is riding with Rymir full force. He's been openly clowning Jay for ducking that DNA test, and word is he's taken it a step further. Reports say 50 personally reached out to Rymir, offering to back him in leaking those indirect DNA results for the whole world to see. And then he went and dropped a cryptic bomb on Instagram. A good lawyer knows the law. A great lawyer knows the judge. Yeah, you already know who that was aimed at. This changes the whole game. For years, Rymir's case was buried, ignored, and blacked out by mainstream media. But now that 50 stepped in, Jay's team is scrambling like never before, working overtime to kill this lawsuit before it gains traction. Sources say they're already digging for dirt on Rymir, trying to discredit him before the story explodes. Jay just filed new court papers, begging the judge to toss out Rymir's case in the docket. His lawyers are calling it more of the same harassment he's been dealing with for years, but people aren't buying that excuse anymore. Fans are straight up asking why Jay would rather spend thousands on legal fees than take a simple test and prove Rymir wrong. One person hit hard in the comments, if Jay-Z has nothing to hide, take the test. Another wrote, Jay-Z doesn't believe in accountability. And one came in cold saying, if his mother was 15 and taken across state lines, someone's gonna be in trouble. So what do you think? Is Jay really hiding something? Should he finally man up and take the test? Could Rymir be telling the truth? Drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video because this story is nowhere near over.